listeners, this is a guitar that you all let me work with you on a kind of a custom run, and I'll say two things. I've got a 64, one of your 64, like a slope shoulder dreadnought. I think I've got the model number right downstairs, and I can bring it up here with my Martins and my Gibsons that are all 50s models and 60s models. Sounds exactly like it's supposed to sound next to those guitars, and no question you've hit the mark there. But when I looked at coming up with something that would be a unique special run guitar, I liked the idea of a body shape that was reminiscent. Someone's calling me, but they'll have to wait. I like the idea of a body shape that was reminiscent of a vintage jumbo guitar. So the concerto rather.
Concerto, right?
Yeah, is sort of falls into that category. And you guys let me do some things that may not be typical. I like the cream binding on the neck and the body that's a little more vintagey. And then I love flame maple. I'm a sucker for a flame maple. So one of the things I liked on that particular build was that we were able to do something that had that contemporary sort of forward sound, but it still had a vintage sort of vibe to it.
Right.
And I haven't had a chance to gig much with that guitar, but I played it the other night almost entirely the whole night at a gig, and that's going to be the new gigging guitar for you know. And I got a lot of guitars, but I love that guitar.
When you go in the recording studio, that maple back is going to just sound fantastic.
I always record with maple. I keep going back to that because you don't need all that low end that you get with mahogany in the studio to begin with. That you're going to roll that off anyway a lot of times.
Yeah, it gets in the way of the guy mixing the
right. Yeah. Well, you mentioned some unique wood choices. Give me your take on the whole idea of sustainability, climate change, all these things we're facing. Most guitar players think, oh, it's Brazilian rosewood, you can't have that anymore. Well, you can, but you can't. But that there's a lot more to it than that. So, what's kind of your view on all that?
I think if we're going to be in the acoustic guitar business, we better embrace the fact that we're in the forestry business, and if we're not interested in sustaining our world's forests, we're being really short-sighted.
Mm-hmm.
I would believe in that whether I was in the guitar business or not, because I think we're all responsible for the habitat of the planet and for protecting future generations. And so I have gone to almost all of the forests where any of our wood comes from. I mean, I've been to Madagascar, to Congo, to India, to Central America, Hawaii, Alaska, of course. And then we go to the mills, and we actually track from the stump all the way into the guitar where the wood comes from.
Okay.
So if you are ever curious, give us a serial number, and we can tell you the story of the wood in your guitar.
That's cool.
Yeah. Well, there may be an exception sometime when we just say that one. We had the wood when we bought the company and we didn't find it. But everything we're doing now, we're tracking 100%.
Wow.
And we're going to come out with a app here pretty soon called Forest Chain. And it'll actually have a QR code that will come with the guitar. And if you, do the QR reader, it will tell you all the paperwork. It'll show it. It'll show the export permits from the country where the tree grew. It'll show you all the way through for your guitar, for that one guitar. We're about 2 years away from having that all fine-tuned, and then we have to load all the stuff, right?
Right.
But we want to bring the consumer completely into the whole story of where the forests are, how they grow, how we're saving and protecting them, all the way into the music that you're creating on your guitar.
That's pretty cool because one of the things of being an old guitar guy, I say old affectionately, but is that if a guitar has a story, that means as much sometimes as the way it sounds or the finish or whatever. I've got an old 58 Strat that I bought. Well, when I lived in Aspen, Dan Fogelberg used to track me down and play it when we were gigging, stuff
Yep.
like that. Well, that's part of the story.
Exactly.
What you're talking about is having a guitar that's got a story from day one. And, a lot of us look at our legacy. What are we going to do with all this stuff? Well, I'm going to pass some of it on to my kids and my grandkids, and that becomes part of that story. And I think that's fascinating. And I have people ask a lot about the wood thing. It didn't used to be something people are interested in, but it comes up.
Good.
That's important.
I don't know if you've had a chance to look at my TEDx talk.
I have not, but I will.
If you log into on YouTube, Tom Bedell TEDx talk, it'll come up, and I tell this story about how we do our wood sourcing.
Well, we'll put a link to that on this YouTube
that'd be awesome
when we edit. So,
okay.
Well, I won't keep you too much longer, but tell me, besides that, what's next for the business? I mean, I guess we all just had kind of a banner year in spite of ourselves. What do you see next? Is it just the wood thing? Is it the marketing part of it? Where do we go?
Okay, so the key to our philosophy is variability. That every piece of wood is got its unique music characteristics. And if we understand that and use that tone wood top or that tone wood back, consistent with understanding those two pieces of wood and the relationship they should have to each other in terms of frequency separation, we can take performance to a whole new level.
Right.
So that's one corner of our philosophy. The second one is the 4 body shapes for Breedlove. Those were designed using this technology. So the air chamber, cubic square inches or whatever, those were designed specifically for performance. And there's a trade-off that most companies have between volume, projection, and overtones and beautiful sound. And our goal was, we're going to get both.
Yeah. That's
what you get in your concerto, is you get great volume out of that, but you also get incredible sustain, right?
I have to say, when I ordered these guitars, it was a big investment for one person to make. It was it was a leap of faith, but I felt good about it. But when I strummed the first one, I was just knocked over. I went, and my manager Candace was standing there, and she just kind of did this whole wow. You never know what to expect. But yes, everything was there. I couldn't find anything it was deficient in. You mentioned the body shapes. We've got a little concertina, myrtlewood concertina downstairs.
A sweet body shape.
Oh man, I'm just dying to take it home, but somebody else needs to buy that. I can't take them all home, Tom. But that's exciting stuff. And when I'm back out touring, I hope to stop in the factory and spend some time, and maybe nothing does more for me as a guitar guy and someone who sells guitars than. I went down recently and visited with my friend Kurt Mangan down in the corner of the state. He makes strings down there, and spent some time where he makes strings. I have a whole new appreciation for how all that works now. So I think I'd love to visit with you and love to shake your hand. And I wanted to thank you for your time today. And here's to another great year, man.
Well, and thanks for being a great partner.
Hey, we're going to keep doing it. It's my new favorite guitar.
All right. I love it.
We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, David.
Thank you.